Johnson & Johnson is one of several companies that has developed a potential vaccine slated to be tested in clinical trials later this year. Alex Gorsky is the chairman and CEO of Johnson & Johnson. Mr. Gorsky, good morning. It's good to have you here.
Well, Savannah, thank you very much for having us on this morning.
Yes, we mentioned just one of them. There are actually several companies that are in this kind of arms race to get a vaccine. Moderna is in clinical trials already. Inovio slated to start clinical trials next month. A German company, CureVac, also researching a vaccine. Tell me about Johnson & Johnson's candidate for a vaccine. Why is it so promising, and when might clinical trials start?
Sure, Savannah. First of all, just let me say how much we appreciate the important public service that you and your team are providing, keeping your viewers really educated and informed about this disease. And I know myself, just watching over the weekend, it can be pretty distressing when you're seeing what's happening with, mothers and fathers and patients, and in some hospitals, particularly like in New York City. What I can also tell you is we're seeing incredible collaboration and good news stories as well taking place, whether it's between some of the biopharmaceutical companies collaborating together, as you just mentioned, trying to get these vaccines out, or other places. But look, today at Johnson & Johnson, we're really pleased to be able to announce that we have a vaccine candidate that, based upon the testing that we've done, and we've been doing a lot in this area, in areas like SARS, Ebola, as were mentioned earlier, that we've got a candidate that has a high degree of probability of being successful against the COVID-19 virus. Now, we also, and very important, is we've got the production capabilities to be able to ramp up production of this in a relatively short period of time so that it can become available. That's why we're entering into this agreement with the government where, we're going to be investing more than $1 billion, accelerating the clinical development as well as the production. And we want to make sure the patients, certainly here in the United States, but around the world, can get access in a very affordable way. In fact, we're going to make sure that we're offering this at a not-for-profit basis here in the United States and around the globe.
Well, that is all really promising news. As you mentioned, you're working with BARDA, the Biomedical Advanced Research and Development Associates at the Department of Health and Human Services. So you mentioned a couple things there. I just want to drill down on it. How soon do you think, if the vaccine ultimately proves to be a successful one, how soon could it get to market? Because, most estimates are 12 to 18 months. Is that the timeline for you as well, if this turns out to be a successful vaccine?
Well, Savannah, we've got all hands on deck, and in fact, this is like a moonshot for us at Johnson & Johnson. What would usually take 5 to 7 years, we expect to be able to accomplish in 5 to 7 months. So to give you an idea, we're working right now on early tests that tend to be very predictive of how these vaccines are eventually going to work in humans. And we want to, first of all, make sure that they're safe, that the platform is safe, that it can be effective. We anticipate starting in humans in September. We could have something called interim results where we use statistical methodology to look and see, do we have a high degree of success. We should have that by the end of the year, such that in an emergency situation, we could have vaccines ready in Q1 and Q2 of 2021. Now, it's also really important in these situations is that we ramp up production. So literally within the next few days and weeks, we're going to start ramping up production of these vaccines as well. And we should be able to have several 100 million doses available by the middle of next year. And our goal is to have 1 billion prepared by the end of 2021. So again,
it's so interesting because you're starting, sorry to interrupt, but I hope people really focus on this because it's interesting, and the companies who are doing this are taking a risk. You're basically producing the vaccine before you even know that it's effective in the hopes that this will be the one.
That's what we have to do in this case. We're going to do everything possible to make sure that we have a safe, effective vaccine available in the kind of quantities that can really make a difference. And frankly, just like the heroes in the hospitals are working right now, the leaders in our laboratories are working 24/7 to do everything they can to accelerate this process.
Can I ask you one more question before I let you go about Tylenol?
Sure.
Obviously, it's a fever reducer. It's been harder and harder to find. I mean, I can't find it in my drugstore shelves right now. What is the company doing to ramp up supply so you can meet that demand?
Sure. Well, look, as the world's largest healthcare company, in addition to what we're doing vaccines, we have taken our Tylenol lines, for example, and we've diverted certain formulations like the rapid release gel to just the caplet formulation that we can produce in much higher quantities and again 24/7. We've converted some of our lines to hand sanitizer lines to make sure that we can get access to more hand sanitizer. So really, there's not an area of our business that we're not looking to say where can we make a difference, because ultimately all of us are going to need to work together to kill this virus.
Yeah, we really appreciate your time and this news this morning. I know will give people a lot of hope that perhaps you will be successful. Johnson & Johnson CEO Alex Gorsky, sir, thank you very much. We really appreciate it.
Well, Savannah, thank you so much.